Hello, welcome to the Indie Trash Podcast. My name is Josh,
And I'm Alec.
and today we will be reviewing Miles Kane debut album.
Color of the Trap. His first album.
This is quite exciting.
This is very exciting for me.
Yep.
And I guess for both of us.
Yep. This is a long time in the making.
Mm-hmm.
Been putting off listening to Miles's music for quite a while.
Yeah.
Like I've known of his songs, but I've never given him the opportunity to just listen to an album.
Yeah.
So here we are. Finally, I have listened to an entire Miles Kane album, piece of work,
Nice.
and we're gonna see how well it fares.
Yeah. Because I always talk very highly of Miles Kane. And,
as a fan.
As a fan.
Yeah.
And, I was surprised when you never sat down and listened to a full album.
Yeah.
Because he's worked with so many of, our big, like our sort of favorite groups and stuff, so.
Yeah, one downside to this is that it's not on Apple Music.
Right.
Which is why, probably one of the big reasons why I haven't given him the time of day.
His second album and his third album and all the singles are all on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, whatever, except for his first album.
I don't even think his second album is on
Apple Music?
Apple Music.
Oh, it's on Spotify.
I'm pretty sure it's just his newest album. And like an EP, First of My Kind. Which
that's it.
That's I think a really early one.
Yeah.
So I don't have any Miles Kane music really available to me.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I guess you have one album, one full complete album.
Yeah, so one album.
Just coup de grace.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Well.
So we'll blame Apple Music.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Apple Music.
I can't use Spotify. It doesn't fit the aesthetic of my phone.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. I understand.
Yeah. As an Apple user.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on Spotify, at least.
It's on Spotify. It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. All the songs are on YouTube. You kind of have to go out of your way to listen to them.
Yeah, it's probably on every streaming device. Well, it's not on Spotify.
No.
But it's on almost every streaming device, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we got some history on Miles?
Yeah, I got some information here. So Miles Kane is an English singer-songwriter, best known for being the co-frontman of the Last Shadow Puppets.
Yep, familiar with them.
Along with Alex Turner from the Arctic Monkeys. At age 18, Miles joined the Little Flames, where they opened up for bands like The Coral. Is it the Zootons?
I can't help you with that one.
Oh, geez, I don't know that band. The Dead 60s and the Arctic Monkeys. So,
oh, really?
So he actually used to open up for Alex Turner and the Arctic Monkeys before they were even, huge.
Yeah.
Only when he was, 18 years old, which is kind of crazy.
That is very crazy.
So Miles later joined the band The Rascals, and then later joining Alex and the Last Shadow Puppets in 2007. Through all the different bands, Miles still continued to pursue a solo career in music, and he just recently released a new single, "Blame It on the Summertime."
Yeah,
which just came up.
Big fan of that one.
In September. I love that song. Fun fact: Miles' maternal cousins are James and Ian Skelly, the two founding members of Coral. The Coral.
Really?
Yeah, his cousins are the Coral.
No, he's got music in his blood.
Yeah, that's not weird. Which I thought that was kind of cool. But Color of the Trap is the debut solo album. It was recorded from 2010 to 2011 and released on the 6th of May 2011. It peaked to actually number 11 on the UK album charts. And, he was very much inspired to write a 60s rock album. A 60s sort of poppy rock album. So there's 4 producers on the album. The most known being Dan the Automator, who's worked with Gorillaz during their debut album, and Dan Carey, who's worked with other musicians, sort of lesser known musicians. There's 4 songwriters on the album. Miles Kane, of course, Alex Turner, Gruff Rhys, who's another producer of the Gorillaz, and Sean Bonnewell, who was American singer-songwriter for the garage band during the 60s, The Music Machine.
Well, never heard of them.
No. But they were, if you look them up, they're very much like the Ramones, but before the Ramones were even around. Like they're very, very early garage rock.
What year was this? In the 60s?
Yeah, this is during the 60s.
Okay. Yeah.
They're crazy.
Interesting.
Like they're actually kind of really unique for the time. This is a 12-song album, each song being around 3.5 minutes long. I use a lot of information from the YouTube video. Miles Kane, Color of the Trap video track by track on NME Music. So I use that sort of as a reference because he kind of talks about his opinion and his views on the songs and which one's his favorites, which ones,
Yeah.
could have done better. Or
Right.
whatever. He doesn't say that, but
Yeah.
just his views on his songs or whatever, like what the songs are about. So yeah, a lot of information here.
Perfect.
There's a lot of stuff going on with this album. So, do you wanna talk about the first song?
Yeah, let's get into it. So the first song is Come Closer. I thought it was a great opener for the album. Really catchy song. This is one of the songs that I've definitely heard before reviewing the album. Like I must have heard it when I used to listen to Miles. I thought the chorus was really explosive. The solo was really cool, and it's a good example of Miles really embracing a classic rock kind of sound. It's a real classic rock banger of a song.
Yeah. So like I said before, Miles really was inspired to write a 60s sort of sounding album.
Yep.
And and this is a great song to sort of start out the album. It's really similar, he said in the video, it's really similar to a John Lennon song, I Found Out, which originally was supposed to be like like a slower, kind of heavier rock song, but John Lennon, when it wasn't a demo anymore, he released it as a full song. It's not quite as heavy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of based off the demo version of that. Like the simple drum beats with the hi-hats, there's a lot of like heaviness in the song. And then that's what I really look for like a starter song, is just, start off with a bang kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And the song really does that.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I get the strong opener sense from it, which is good. You don't want the album to start flat. And this really gives a good punch right out of the...
right out of the gate.
Yes.
Yeah. So the second song, Rearrange, Miles described the song as a perfect pop tune, but also being cool. That's how he described it. Okay. Which I can see. Yep. The song sort of radiates the 60s rock and roll vibes, quick, catchy drum, bass riffs. There's a lot happening in the background of the song. There's like all these like little muted guitar riffs, like early 60s synthesizers. And of course the song was also written with Alex Turner. So this is an Alex Turner song, essentially. Yeah. How did you feel about it?
So this is the second song off the album, and it's another song that I recognize from when I used to listen to Miles. And I love the song just as much now as I did back then. The riff is like infectious. It has this really cool tone to it that's really original, and it's kind of almost piercing. Like it hits you really hard. The lyrics are really catchy. They're really emotive, and like they're not. There's no point where it feels tacky at all. So the lyrics do a really good job. His vocals sound great. The build before the chorus, and just the payoff of the chorus, the lyrics in the chorus, I think are really simple, to the point, and maybe it is Alex's influence in the songwriting here that really bring that out. It doesn't feel like there's any unnecessary parts in the song. Like everything feels like it's building towards that, that really concise sound that it's going for. And I think that's the pop aspect of the song, maybe. Yeah. That there's no unnecessary bits. There's nothing kind of just like lingering around. It's all very urgent feeling, moving forward. And, I think the end result's really good.
Yeah, so the song doesn't really stop. It just constantly goes and goes and goes, and then it's over.
Yeah, and the riff kind of drives it the whole time. The drums drive it. Yeah. I like the constant forward direction of the song.
Yeah, I love that song. I thought it was awesome. The third song, My Fantasy, simple, likable song. My Fantasy, I love the lyrics. The bass riffs that lead throughout the song. it's and then the key change at the end.
The key change is really cool.
Is awesome. So Noel Gallagher sings backing vocals and guitar in this song. It's hard to hear, but yeah.
Okay, so I remember you mentioning that, and I saw it in the songwriting credits on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
But I couldn't quite pick them out.
Yeah, I know it's hard to it's hard to tell, but Noel Gallagher is there, which is kind of cool.
That is cool. Yeah.
That Noel Gallagher just kind of popped in to play one song with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's it's just a really nice song, and Miles described it as letting out the feelings you have pent up inside. Where it's sort of soft, like it sort of starts like a little soft, and at the end, he says like, "Oh, darling," he does like the key change, like so when he sings that song, it sort of like comes out, this sort of pent up. I can kind of understand that, because it almost feels like right before the "Oh, darling" part, the song could almost end right there, but then instead he throws in this drum fill, which leads you to the key change, which almost feels to me like that moment when you're in an argument with somebody and you're trying to debate whether or not you should say the next thing, and you're thinking about just kind of holding it in, but then that drum beat in your mind comes in, and then you go and you just say it the way, and that kind of, I feel like that kind of relates with the lyrics of what the key changes, the "Oh, darling" part. It's almost like he's trying to say something. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot more behind the song than I thought originally, because when I was younger and I was listening to the song, I was like, oh, it's just a good song. But now there's like all these messages and stuff in it, and there's all this like you said, there's all these little things that if you look at, it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I think the like I said, I love the drum fills that kind of piece the song together. I think there's at least two that I can think of. The one that leads into the bridge, and there's another one earlier on in the song. Mm-hmm. And it kind of like all the other instrumentation kind of cuts out, and all you hear are these drums. And it's really exciting because you don't know where it's going to take you. Mm-hmm. So when it takes you back into the song the first time, it's kind of, it kind of feels like it's bringing you back. And then the second time it brings you the bridge, the key change or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like this whole new exciting sound that you're hearing
it's
in
like
the
new song.
In the last minute or whatever.
It's like a whole new song when it happens. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a good example of really good songwriting. Mm-hmm. And like Brave, kind of like, he's not just trying to write a 4-chord song that stays within, the typical chord structure, or the chord progression structure. He's willing to see how he can venture out of that into a different key and use that to effect in the song. Yeah,
and I sort of use the song as an example of Miles writing just a great song, because like I've always thought of it as Alex Turner writes the songs and Miles just kind of plays along, kind of thing. But this is just a great reference for a good Miles song, like a great Miles song, because this song was written by Miles Kane. Noel Gallagher doesn't appear on the songwriting credits. He appears like playing guitar and singing backing vocals, but he doesn't appear as songwriting credits. This isn't an Alex Turner song.
Yeah.
This is just a Miles song. So I thought like, oh wow, like Miles has the ability to do something great.
Yeah.
By himself, and not relying so much on Alex and Noel or, whoever he's working with.
Right.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, so
great song.
Yes, so the next song, Counting Down the Days. I sort of look at this as a sad version of Rearrange on the album. That's how I
I can kind of hear that.
So this is another Miles and Alex song. It's very spoken word during the verses, with like just a loud and a sort of like confident chorus. There's a lot of distortion happening in the song, like with some bits during like the little breaks. There's like all these like distorted sounds. The song could be a little repetitive. Mm-hmm. So I felt like the whole lyrics of the song was just the chorus, which is counting down the days. But I sort of feel like the different solos and stuff really stop me from skipping it and really stop it from getting stale. But that's just, that's my opinion. So what about you? How did you feel about Counting Down the Days?
I liked it. It was reminds me a lot more of Last Shadow Puppets sound, which I think comes from Alex working on the song with Miles. Mm-hmm. The first few songs, I didn't really get any Last Shadow Puppets feel from the lyrics, the tone, the instrumentation, the music. But this one, right out of the gate, it kind of just feels like it could belong on maybe their second album. But I do really like the chorus, the counting down the days part, the little melody. I do wish that it's an interesting chord progression that he uses in the chorus, and I kind of almost feel like it's another song that it's a song that could have done what some of the other songs do, which is explore into different keys. Especially like the tension on the days, counting down the days, like it almost feels like it could go somewhere, and it never really seems to go where it could.
It just stays where it is.
It just stays where it is.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate the effect that brings to the song, because it almost brings there's a tension on days, like you want it to go somewhere, and maybe the fact that it doesn't is part of like the artistic style, like the stylistic choice of the artist. But at the same time, like you said, it is a bit repetitive, and I think you could have avoided that repetitive feeling by exploring a new key, a new little progression or something. Just switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But he kind of just keeps going back to the counting down the days. Yeah. So it's a good song, but I think it overstays its welcome a little bit.
Yeah, it does feel a little too long.
Yeah.
But I think like one of the only things keeping me from skipping it was like all like the little stuff that happens in the background.
Yeah.
Because like I thought that was kind of cool to do, all these different sounding things in the background in between the choruses and stuff. It was like, oh,
yeah,
it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and for it being the least impressive of the songs so far, is still an enjoyable song.
Yeah.
And I'll still listen to this, and I probably wouldn't even skip this song, because I look forward to hearing him sing the chorus, the counting down the days part. Even if I think the song overall is a little bit underwhelming, it's still an enjoyable listen.
Yeah, and I do like the spoken word verses during the song. I think it's awesome. What?
It's cold.
You're cold?
A little chilly.
Stole the blanket from the dog.
You can still like have this part.
You can have that
here.
part. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, he's small enough.
He's a little dog.
Yeah. There you go. Get up there.
Yep, Josh just totally stole the blanket from the little old dog.
Yeah, the little old man. He's just gonna get underneath. He doesn't even want to be on top. There you go.
No, he's good. There we go. See, everybody wins.
There.
But yeah, I think the song. I think the song's got a lot going for it. It is a little long, like a little bit repetitive, but
still
a great song.
Yeah, and if you're gonna put a song like this on the album, this is probably where I'd put it. Kind of a break from 4 pretty great songs, or three pretty great songs in a row. You need something that's kind of a little more mellow anyways, so
yeah, great choice.
Yep.
Yeah. The next song, Happenstance.
Okay, so this was one that I kind of threw me off, because obviously there's no feature credits on the track listing, so when I hear a female singer duetting with Miles, it threw me off, and I was wondering at first, is this his voice? Is he doing some kind of duet with himself?
Did you not know that? He's both.
He is both?
No, I'm just kidding. He's not both.
No, he's not. No. Okay, good. Because I did look it up, and it's Clemence Posey.
Yeah.
Who is...
Clemence Posier?
Yeah, Mr. Frenchman. How do I say that?
I don't know. I don't want to quote it. Because I don't want to sound like an idiot. Yeah, she's a French actress.
She's a French actress.
And fashion model.
She was in Harry Potter.
She was in Harry Potter.
She was somebody in Harry Potter.
Yeah, she was like, I forget which Order of the Phoenix.
Probably. Or the one before that, I think.
Oh, that's the one.
Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire. Yeah. She was like with the blue hat and the blue
thing.
You remember when they came in and there was all the birds?
Yes.
And everything. Yeah, she's like the main one. I think she was in the competition, like the.
She would have been like one of the competing schools or something.
Yeah, she was one of the schools that competed. Yeah, isn't that cool?
Interesting. So that's her.
Yeah, that's her.
And
she's the backing vocals of the song.
Yep. And apparently Miles, I kind of read a little something about it, just kind of like met her, didn't know who the singer was going to be on the song, but knew that he wanted to find a female singer to do a duet with on the song. And I guess just met her or something, or somebody put her in touch with him, and then he heard the demo and was all about it and really liked it.
Yeah.
and kind of gave her this opportunity to, you know, be featured on a pretty cool album.
Yeah, no, that's awesome because I really love the 60s style back and forth.
Yeah.
You know, and it's different than like every other song on this. Like up until this point, this is very different. You know,
It does have a different vibe.
And my only gripe with this song is that it does feel a little bit too long. It sort of almost feels like it, you know, it overstays its welcome in a sense. But this is also an Alex Turner song. Alex Turner helped write this song too, but I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it is a great song.
Yeah, honestly, like if it was on Spotify, it would be on my playlist.
Yep.
I really enjoyed this song. You know, it's just a little French, like kind of duet going back and forth. I said that she was backing vocals. She's not backing vocals. She's the second singer on the song.
Yeah.
But there is this like awesome back and forth between them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's an awesome 60s style duet.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't have anything real negative to say about it. And I think the song actually changes up enough throughout that I thought kept it interesting all the way to the end.
Yeah.
It is kind of, there's nothing big in the changes. I think there's just a little outro bit where Miles is just singing and he's kind of saying the same thing over and over again. And I think it actually ends the song really nicely.
Yeah.
And then them singing together sounded great. And the song itself feels really authentic.
It does.
It doesn't feel like a song that was like cooked up in a studio. It doesn't feel like a song that, you know, people tried to spend hours to write. It almost just felt like a song that, you know, two people came up with, which I think you said it was Miles and Alex who came up with it. But, you know, in my head and, you know, in my heart, I believe that it was, you know, these two people who were singing.
Yeah.
Which, you know, like I said, felt really authentic to me.
Yeah. And you know, the song is just like, there's nothing like so far in 2011, there's no album that was like this. Like there was no album like Color of the Trap that came out. Nothing with this sort of sense of like 60s vibes, you know, like there was nobody trying to do that. So, you know, hats off to Alex.
Alex for helping Miles do this.
I looked down, I read the name Alex. Hats off to Miles so far. This album is like great. Quicksand, which is the next song.
Yep.
It was a very poppy. He wrote the song with Gruff Reese. Okay. And when he came up with the song, he was singing la 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 la, and then he was like, that doesn't fit right. So he wrote bum bum ba da ba 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 instead of la la la's. He put ba ba ba's.
Okay.
And Gruff Reese was like, yes, do that, do the ba ba ba's, and then at the end do the la la la's. So it's kind of this like little joke.
That's funny.
So that's why at the beginning it's ba ba ba, and at the end of the song it's la la la's, because they really couldn't decide on which one they wanted. So they
just keep both. Yeah. That's great.
You know, there's this nice like harmony during the chorus on Quicksand. It's just I think it's a simple, likable pop song, really 60s style. There's like a nice like little solo at 2 minutes in. It's really like crunchy and like synth like. You know, the song sort of carries its own weight. But how do you feel about it, Josh?
Quicksand, I thought it was unbelievably catchy. Great song. I thought the solo was really cool. Surprised it's not a bigger song, to be honest with you. Like I've kind of heard the Miles songs, the ones that are his biggest songs that kind of, you know, pop up when you first type them in. And Quicksand never popped up to me, which is really strange because that melody, that dun 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 dun, like it gets stuck in your head so gosh darn easily.
Yeah, and this is like the one song that it, like you said, it gets stuck in my head all day. I'll listen to it once and then I'm singing it the whole day.
Yeah.
Without even realizing it.
Yeah.
And it's like I had to catch myself and going like, have I been singing Quicksand this whole day? I have. Yeah.
I could see it being really easy to do that.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like this song kind of cuts through what I would call like Miles' sound. He has a few songs that do this pretty well, like Rearrange, Color of the Trap to a degree, Don't Forget Who You Are, Blame It on the Summertime as well. Now these songs he's starting to really, you know, I don't know how to really say this without seeming negative towards his classic Miles sound, but he's really starting to step outside of that and kind of create a sound that's more universal.
Yeah.
And that doesn't sound just like Miles's music. It almost sounds like something that could exist, in the mainstream.
Yeah. And what's awesome about that is like he started with, like alternative indie rock, and then he went to 60s, and he held on to that 60s for so many years. And now that he's coming out of the sort of 60s sounding era and sort of coming out with things that are more mainstream, you can still hear the influences,
which is
right? You
really
can
cool.
Still hear the songs. You can still hear like you can catch all his old songs and his new songs, but the new songs sound so popular or so nice that they can still be like on the radio.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is nice, which I really appreciate, because I do enjoy a more universal sound. I do I can appreciate the intricacies and like the niche things that kind of made him in the beginning. But I want to see him really kind of cut through that and do something that kind of can speak to everybody.
Yeah.
And this is Quicksand, a couple other songs on this album, some of his other songs on other albums, I think really are good examples of him being able to do that.
Yeah.
Kind of the way that Alex did with a lot of songs on AM. While I know that those aren't like, considered his best songs, I think they really shine. They really achieve what they're trying to do.
Exactly.
In like a really, really great way.
Yeah. Yeah.
As overplayed as they are. I want to see Miles get to that point.
You want Miles to release an AM.
I want Miles to release an AM.
Oh my God.
Just so that way he can take 6 years off and, do something crazy after that.
Yeah, just do something absolutely bonkers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
the next song,
Inhaler.
Do you know Elvis Costello's Pump It Up?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll listen to it after, but that's how Miles described the song, was Elvis Costello's Pump It Up, he's one of my favorite artists.
Yep.
Elvis Costello. Which I thought was awesome, because it's so cool to hear, your idols talk about like your other idols in a way. Like I grew up listening to Elvis Costello's music and like all these weird bands that my parents listened to, and then it's awesome to hear Miles come out and just say like, oh yeah, I love this band and this band, it's this band, and it's like, I love those bands.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miles. But anyway, that's besides the point. There's a lot of back and forth in this song, of just a really punchy chorus and a very simple yet still punchy kind of verse. But the name Inhaler came as a joke in this song, because they had the whole song set up. They had like everything going, but he didn't have something to shout during the chorus. And Miles has asthma, and somebody screamed Inhaler, and they just rolled with it.
That's funny.
And so now every time they play the song, it's like a joke between, I think he's got a new band now, but it's between like him and his band. It's kind of like Inhaler's like big haha, because Miles has asthma.
That's funny. Can't breathe properly.
Yeah, and this song was actually written with the 60s 60s musician Sean Bonnewell before he passed away. He passed away in December, I think, of 2011. The song came out in May, right? May, yeah. So this song he wrote with like a very, like, this song is very 60s, sort of like aggressive 60s.
Yes.
Very garage, punky. How'd you feel about it, Josh?
I felt it was really chaotic.
Yeah.
Instrumentally, vocally, very chaotic sounding, very claustrophobic in the beginning.
Yeah.
Almost feels like there's like something kind of coming in, closing in around you. So very, like, a very intense feeling overall for the song.
Yeah.
But I thought Miles's vocals were really exciting. The way he says the nighttime is the right time is like super passionate and powerful.
Yeah.
And I think his vocals sound like really mint, saying that line in particular. And I like the fact that it's a kind of a aggressive short song, doesn't overstay its welcome. Because this is the kind of song that I while I do really enjoy it, I would get tired of it if it was anything more than a 3-minute song, basically.
Yeah, even if it was 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Or like 4 minutes, it'd be
way too much.
Yeah, way too much to handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you said, the sort of startling beginning, the claustrophobic. I feel like when everything like comes together, like there's like this big punch in the beginning, I feel like Miles is just like kicking the door down.
Yeah.
I feel like he just storms into my room, kicks the door down with like all his instruments and everything.
That's hilarious.
That's the sort of feeling I get.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you feel the same way with the same kind of eeriness of it.
Yeah.
It's very punchy though. It's
very punchy,
aggressive, cool sounding. So I'm gonna have to show you these songs and these bands after the podcast because, yeah, the Music Machine is crazy, and then Elvis Costello's "Pump It Up" is like I'm gonna show it to you, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, it's like. It's not the same song, but it takes a different turn on it.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like,
clearly an influence.
Pump It Up is very like is like sort of lighthearted, and this version is like the dark version of Pump It Up.
I see.
Which is cool.
The yin and the yang.
Yeah, yin yang.
Yep.
Yeah. So, King Crawler, the next song on the album. I think it's very Last Shadow Puppets.
Yes.
You know, the I don't even know what the hell I wrote here. The whole song is pretty much Miles Kane holding notes.
Holding notes.
Oh yeah, his vocal. Like, he holds a lot of notes. I was like, holding notes like in his hands? How the hell would I know that? I think the song's kind of repetitive. And the spoken word kind of feels like a little bit off-putting. It's not like what other song had the sort of is it
the spoken word?
The spoken word was
Counting Down the Days.
Counting Down the Days. I thought it was like a different version of that song. Mm-hmm. I still don't know how I feel about it because it's always been like one of those songs where I've always sort of skipped it. Yeah. But now like I sat down, I listened to it a couple times, and I really do enjoy the song. I thought it was a good song. Okay. There's this sort of background synth going on during the second verse. Yeah. Which is a little crazy, and I love it. So, how do you feel about it, Josh?
It's got this weird tribal feel to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's mainly the drums from what I remember. It might have been some of the instrumentation as well. Mm-hmm. It's a bit spacey. Yeah. Feels kind of ambient almost, and maybe that's the synths. But you got the drums, which feel tribal, but then the music itself feels very spacey. And the song itself is a bit of a slow burn. Yeah. It kind of takes a while for it to get to the end, and then the end is really the big payoff. And it kind of takes forever to get to the King Crawler part. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of just repeats the verse and the chorus again.
Yeah, I wrote down here it's one of the weaker songs on the album.
I would say it is one of the weaker songs, because I wish it had a bit more of a payoff. The drums kind of are, this thumping, leading aspect of the song. And then the payoff, I feel, is a bit underwhelming. Yeah. Not a bad song by any means, but it's definitely a weaker point on the album.
Yeah, it's a little repetitive, and there's not much replayability. It's not a song that you're just like, oh my god, let's do it again. Yeah. Like, it's like you said, it's a slow burn. There's not a lot of stuff happening.
It's kind of just taking me to the next song.
Yeah, which is Take the Night From Me. Yes. This is a long ballad type song with pianos and like sharp sounding guitars. There's this nice build to the end, and the intro with the sort of Italian French.
Yeah, I wrote that down. The Italian sounding keyboard music.
Yeah, sort of sharp sounds. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love the intro. It's very like sort of rustic 60s, like very like early 60s French.
Yeah, very sort of vintage sounding.
Yeah, vintage, yeah. And I love the song. I love Take the Night From Me. I think it's a little long, but there's this sort of build at the end. He says, "Take it from me," and it's awesome. Mm-hmm. It's an awesome build. How do you like it, Josh? Did you like it?
I loved the song.
Oh, nice.
Great song. Really helping me appreciate Miles's vocals. Mm-hmm. The raspy tone in particular of his vocals. Mm-hmm. Like really whatever key the song is in, which I think is just a typical like C or something. Mm-hmm. His voice, which is the same as Color of the Trap, which is another great example of his vocals. Mm-hmm. Like he can just sit here and his voice sounds so great. Mm-hmm. I loved the piano keyboard lead and the old timey sounding Italian music. Yeah. Like you were saying.
Yeah, it's very much like I think it belongs in like Inglourious Bastards. Yes. Or something. Like it's got this like I said 60s. Maybe it's like a 40s or a 50s thing. Yeah. French sort of Italian, almost European sounding, melodic. It's weird. Like it's awesome.
It's really pleasant to listen to, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
The drum beat, which I think is really cool, because the drum beat's kind of upbeat, and then the piano kind of has this more melodic sense to it, and it's kind of opposing, but they work really well together.
Yeah, with Miles' voice.
With Miles' voice joining them.
It,
yeah.
sort of thing.
The backup vocals, which I don't remember if they're his. I think they are. They may have been somebody else's. I should have looked that up, but I thought the backup vocals were really great.
Yeah.
And then there's a key change at the end. Really brings the song all the way around. And for a song that's like, I think really only about 3 minutes long, maybe it seems long, but I thought it really, all the different moving parts really came together in a really interesting and cool way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Miles doing what like Miles does best, because this is just him, this song. This is just a Miles song.
So another example of Miles being a really good songwriter.
Yeah. And I feel like now that I looked it up and now that we've listened to this album, Miles doesn't necessarily need to work with Jamie T
on every song.
That was weird. But anyway, that's besides the point.
Great song.
Great song. Telepathy, which is the next song. Miles described this as Tarantino. He said he wanted it to be like in a Tarantino film. But I put James Bond theme, ?
Yeah.
I got a very strong James Bond 60s action sort of vibe. The chorus is awesome. The chorus is short, but the guitar riffs are really enjoyable. There's this bass riff that carries the song throughout. And honestly, like, I look forward to the ending of the song as like it's a good thing. The ending of the song is fantastic. This is just a really well put together song. It's an Alex Turner song.
Okay.
How'd you like it, Josh?
This was not a standout song for me.
Yeah.
And to me, this is almost where the album, unfortunately, takes a bit of a nosedive. This song and the next song, because so far there's been slow points in the album where I'm not a huge fan of the song. I think one or two songs in particular, but the next song, always really picks it up again.
Yeah. And
to me, after Take the Night From Me, this song kind of just felt like everything I've heard from like my least favorite of the Last Shadow Puppet songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the ones that kind of try to be more just like this like cool 60s sounding rock song. Bad Habits in particular, off of their last album, the last Shadow Puppets album, just kind of didn't really hit the mark for me. Kind of felt like he's trying to be his Miles. Like, this is an example of like the Miles sound that I don't think is quite as universal. It's kind of stuck inside this little bubble.
Yeah.
It's a cool groove, like you said. But kind of boring and uneventful. To me, the song almost felt unnecessary.
Yeah.
But the rhythm of the chorus was really catchy, like you said. But, like, to me, that just kind of seems like a small aspect of the song that maybe could have been worked into something else, a better idea.
Yeah. And I put looking forward to the ending in a good way.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think the ending of the song is the best part. More or less, like, the chorus and the ending is the best part. But you're right. This song and the next song sort of take a nosedive, and the last three songs in this album. So we're on the third last album. So we're on the third last song.
Yeah.
So Telepathy, the next song, Better Left Invisible, and Color of the Trap they're all co-written with Alex Turner.
Okay.
So the next song, Better Left Invisible. This is a sort of Miles told a story where the song really started out as like a slow, like a slow burn song that they would play just for fun, and then later on they edited it with like some punch and like some kick and everything. It's not one of my favorite songs. I sort of get this Liam Gallagher vibe from Miles at some points.
Yeah.
Like where he's like, I don't know what he's doing with his voice, maybe just projecting it harder. It's a slow burn. It's really slow to get into. It's a nice sounding fuzz delay on the song. It just feels too slow. again, these two songs here, there's nothing because if it went from Telepathy to like a faster song, then it'd be a nice, carryover.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to sort of.
Oh, there's the dog barking.
Oh, poor Kylo.
I should go and let him in, just that way we can, maybe cut this out.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Oh, there's a doggo. That's why. Well, we're gonna let the doggo get in the car. Doggo's in the car. This girl looks way too young to be driving.
How old does she look?
Like 12. With like lime green hair.
Oh jeez.
Who makes a decision like that unless you're 12?
You're right. Or like a grandmother.
Exactly.
Grandmas do that.
Hey, Kylo, inside. There we go. See, couple barks, and now he's inside. Kylo, no, muddy paws, Kylo. You're gonna honestly probably just go right back outside.
He's cold. Your dog is cold. Oh.
He's a little chilly, but he can just lay down.
If he sits here and just
relaxes,
just chills and doesn't breathe directly into the mic, I'm sure everything will be okay.
Kylo, can you just go lay down, please?
No, Kylo, lay down.
Go lay down.
Down. Lay down.
Lay down.
Oh.
Yep, Kylo, lay down.
Kylo, lay down. Lay down, Kylo.
All the way down.
All the way down. Lay down. Oh, Kylo, lay down.
Kylo, lay down.
Lay down.
Thank you.
Good
boy.
Dog. Look at that dog.
Yep, just stay there. Stay.
Okay, stay. No.
Nope.
Oh,
nope.
he's back
Kylo,
up.
you're gonna lay down.
Down.
Kylo, lay down. Lay down. Yes.
There
now stay. Stay. Good boy.
Stay.
Good boy.
I'm just gonna hold his head like this.
Yeah.
Until he's.
That might be all it takes. Okay. So where were we? I'm sorry.
Better Left Invisible? Were you on that?
Better Left Invisible. Yeah, you were saying...
It's got this sort of Liam Gallagher sound at times, but it's definitely a weaker song on the album.
Yeah.
I wish you kind of went from Telepathy to like a little bit faster, like a little bit.
Yeah.
More kick it up a bit.
Yeah, or maybe like I'm not sure which of these two songs I prefer.
Yeah.
But it almost feels like after Take the Night From Me, which is like this kind of epic slow burning song. If you're gonna put a slow song like this, you want to put, I think, Take the Night From Me almost right before the end.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe just put Take the Night From Me and then maybe one kind of throwaway song if you're gonna put a song in between that and the very last song.
Mm-hmm. But
the fact that there's two kind of just kills the momentum for me, like right before the end of the album.
Yeah.
So they're not bad songs, but it's just after Take the Night From Me, which is just this real peak, I don't want to be brought back down yet. Like I'm not ready for just like two songs of just kind of skip ability.
Yeah.
It's
definitely a slow burn. And it's Telepathy and Better Left Invisible are two of the weakest songs on this album. It's kind of a shame, you put them like right at the end and didn't just kind of stick them right in the middle where we can come back to like a great song more or less. But speaking of great songs, the last song on this album
is quite the great song.
Is probably the best song on the album. Color of the Trap.
Yep.
It's a fantastic song.
It sure is.
So I was watching the Miles video, and he was talking about changing from black to blue, his sort of like emotions and relationships. Like it goes from black to blue kind of thing. So hence the name Color of the Trap. So it's just sort of changing moods, and relationships and stuff.
I like that.
It's just a fantastically written and performed song. You can really hear the emotions coming from Miles in the song.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
This is definitely a Miles song. And honestly, I think it was a perfect song to sort of end the album, in my opinion. It's slow, but like with an awesome build, straight to the point. There's this nice orchestra performing in the background. And again, lyrics are just spot on. Lyrics and performance is just spot on. I think this is probably a perfect song, in my opinion.
Okay.
How about you, Josh? Oh, boy.
I think it's a beautiful melody.
Mm-hmm.
Like the song itself is just, it's one of those songs that I think people will look back on in a handful of years and will go, this is an example of a song whose melody and performance is really going to stand the test of time.
Right.
Love how his voice sounds on it. There's moments where he goes up into his higher register. I think it's really beautiful. The metronome state of the drums, I think, is hypnotic in a way, especially for the first half before like the explosive chorus, when he's just kind of singing over that not typical, but it's that chord progression that makes the song up. There's this metronome like drum in the background, which I think is just him hitting a snare or something.
It's just like hi-hats and a
hi-hat
snare.
and a snare.
Yeah.
But it almost sounds like a metronome, and it gives it a hypnotic feeling, which the song itself almost has.
Yeah, it seems like the song is following along sort of up and down with the drum set sort of keeping the pace, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like the whole song is kind of balanced by this drum up until the end, where there's like a build with the orchestra and everything.
Yep.
But no, I think it's just a perfect song.
Yep.
Honestly.
Yeah, it's hard to say much about it when it is, like you said, pretty close. I mean, to me, it's pretty close to being perfect as well. I don't see really any issues at all with it. It's a great song. The orchestration, like you said, at the end, the bridge.
Do you think it's a good song to end the album?
It's an interesting choice of a song, because normally your biggest song isn't the last song on an album.
Yeah.
Normally your biggest song is a single that you release kind of in the middle of an album. So it's an interesting choice. It does kind of fit as a closing song for an album, but I almost feel like this could have been a song in the middle of the album, and then it maybe would have helped the pacing of the album a little bit better.
Yeah.
Maybe put something, because you don't necessarily want to put your best song at the very end of the album. I don't think structurally, I don't think it really works, because you want, I mean, he has enough big songs in the beginning, but I almost feel like he could have put this one in the middle, taken out maybe one song, maybe made it a 10 song, really well paced album.
Yeah. Do you, so if you had to put, I'm throwing you under the bus here.
Okay.
I don't know if you're ready for this question, but if you had to take a song and put it at the end, which song would it be? I was thinking
My Fantasy.
My Fantasy.
Yeah, if you end on that like "Oh Darling" part.
Yeah, and that's the end of the album, is the key change.
I think that's really big. That's really, it kind of gives it the same grandiose epic feel that you would get from Color of the Trap, but I feel like it would save Color of the Trap for earlier on in the album, which would kind of give it.
Honestly, if you could just remove Telepathy and Better Left Invisible and put My Fantasy at the end and just put Color of the Trap as the second last song, even.
Yeah, even that.
This album would be.
It'd flow. I think the flow, the feel of the album would kind of be improved a little bit, because it kind of drags. Like, it was this 12 songs, and two songs on the last 3 songs. I would skip right away. Yeah. Right. So I mean, I'm at the point where we could take those off, and the structure flow of the album would be improved by quite a bit, I think. Yeah.
So the album, I guess. So
let's go through our favorite songs. Right. Yeah. So what are your favorite songs if you had to pick?
Okay. So I know this sounds stupid, but they're honestly tied.
Okay.
Because I love My Fantasy so much, and I love Color of the Trap so much. I think they're my 2 favorite songs off the album. They're very similar, and sort of ending with this sort of grandiose, like you said, sort of build and everything. But I don't know what it is. They're like they're both just so fantastic, and Miles has this sort of power to deliver a great song when it comes to this sort of I don't know how to phrase it. Crap. Miles has this sort of recipe.
Okay.
For like his perfect recipe for a song.
Yeah.
You know, I want to look back at this when I'm editing and just going, you stupid idiot. But he sort of had formula. He has this formula for like a perfect song, right? And I think My Fantasy and Color of the Trap just boom. Yeah. Just nailed it. How about you? What are your favorite song off the album?
Well, yeah, no, I'm not limiting this to one song. This is what are your favorite songs? Which ones would you take away and throw in a playlist or whatever?
There's one more. I really like Happenstance.
Okay.
It's sort of unique back and forth.
Yeah.
If it was on Spotify or on whatever,
yeah,
I would be in my playlist, but it's not.
But it's not, Miles.
I'm so upset. Anyways.
Do something about that, Miles.
Exactly. Miles, we're calling you out. You gotta, at Miles Kane, you gotta fix this.
Please. My favorite songs: Rearrange, My Fantasy, Quicksand, Take Me From the Night, or Take the Night From Me, and Color of the Trap.
Nice.
Like, I think all those songs are, I think they're all great. Three of them I've never heard before. Color of the Trap and Rearrange are ones that are probably going to stick around with me forever.
Yeah.
They're never going to be songs that I'm going to stop listening to.
That's awesome.
So now at least I have 3 other ones that I can throw in there. And then my 2 least favorite are obviously Telepathy and Better Left Invisible.
Yeah, that goes without saying. Those are my least favorite songs.
Yeah.
On this album. They're just too slow burns.
Slow burns at a point in the album where you don't want 2 slow burns.
In a row.
Yeah. No.
But then Color the Trap, I guess in a way, is a slow song, but it goes a different direction.
It goes a different direction, and it's the slow burn that I want from a song. So I don't want 2 slow burns done, ineffectively, more or less, and then a slow burn that's done really effectively.
Yeah. Because
then I almost can't appreciate the slow burn. You got to put something faster in front of Color of the Trap to really kind of accentuate the the song itself. You can't put 2 slow burns in front of Color of the Trap and then expect Color of the Trap to stand out in any way. Because it's not. It's just gonna. And I feel like that might be a problem that people would have while listening to this. Is that how are they gonna get to Color of the Trap? They're gonna if they even make it through the first. Because in a way, Miles is a bit of a acquired taste if you're not an indie rock fan, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you were to sit down and listen to this album and, find enough traits that you like for the first 3 quarters of it, and then you get to those 2 songs and you're like, okay, well, sorry, dude, I'm checking out at this point. You would never even get to experience Color of the Trap.
Exactly.
So
if only we could edit the album. I mean,
yeah.
So we should talk about the production,
the music,
and the instrumentation. I think this is a very different album for the time. Like I said before, it's a very 60s mod rock and roll album. With like just like a little bit of twist of like modern, because you get like all these producers who've worked with artists like the Gorillaz and you get like even Noel Gallagher's there. Like I said before, I don't know if he helped write the lyrics or anything, but. And Alex Turner's there, obviously, but this album doesn't feel overdone with the amount of producers and writers, right? It feels like authentic. It feels like Miles had like this idea, and he went out. He surrounded himself with people who he knew wouldn't mess with him. He surrounded himself with his friends, and to actually sit down and write a song with like one of the producers. It's crazy, like producers are kind of there to just tell you what to do, I feel like, more or less, but Miles knew what he was doing with this album, production wise and music wise. If you don't like 60s rock, you probably won't enjoy this album. I mean, there are songs on here that are very much like poppy, sort of like Quicksand. And even Rearrange are some of the songs that if you don't like 60s rock, you'll probably still enjoy it. Honestly, I put My Fantasy as one of them too. But again, you can tell there's passion here. You can tell that Miles had the idea. He pushed it forward. He did what he needed to do, and I think he succeeded, production wise. So I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
I also gave it an 8 out of 10. I loved the orchestration, the instrumentation. Like you said, sounds super authentic. The production itself is really tight, but still retains the raw, authentic in-studio performance that each song kind of sounds and feels like.
Perfect.
Which I really appreciate that, because it is something that the Beatles were really good at, was capturing that in studio live feel. You know, you look at like the White Album and some of their more later albums, like, you know, even Abbey Road in a way, just
Let It Be.
Let It Be.
The Let It Be album.
Yeah, they all feel like just like they're in studio. They're capturing a moment in time of an artist recording something in the studio and kind of discovering the album in the studio.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it really captures that, really brings it out, feels really authentic, like you said. There's a bit on the instrumentation that I'll get into in the longevity section, but you know, I don't think that really influences the fact that the music and the instrumentation itself sounds really clean and really good and effective.
Yeah.
So 8 out of 10.
That's awesome.
The first 8 out of 10 that I've given any of our albums
so far.
Yeah.
Honestly. Content and lyrics. I think the lyrics are very well done on this album. There aren't any lyrics in this album I'd be like, ooh, that's cringy, or ooh, that's terrible. Like, I don't know if it was the power of Malix together. But no, that I think with Alex there, maybe he did, obviously he's on some of the songwriting credits. But they make a great combination. Almost everything on the album is very retro, and it doesn't try to be something that it's not. It's very much a 60s sounding modern rock album. My only complaint really for content wise is like the last two songs.
Yeah.
Or sorry, not the last two. Oh my god. The
last
second
two
last and the
before.
third. Yeah, before the last song.
Yeah.
So yeah, the third last and second last song of the album. That's my only gripe, really. Lyrics are fantastic, like I said. There's enough content to sort of go around. And I gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
Wow.
8.5, yeah.
An 8.5.
8.5. I couldn't give it an 8. I couldn't give it a 9. Couldn't give it an 8. 8.5.
Okay.
How about you, Josh? Where's your stance on that?
I thought the lyrics are pretty great all around. I wonder how much of that is, like you said, Malix. Because the songs that Miles wrote by himself, I thought were like really great.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that is all of Miles's quality songwriting into those songs, and then the songs where maybe he couldn't come up with, you know, quite as good lyrics or quite as good. So cute, eh?
Yeah, his dog's so cute. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off.
You may have heard a bit of a snore, and
he's sleepy.
Oh, he's being a sleepy doggo.
Oh.
So I wonder if how much of the songwriting on this album is Alex saving Miles from writing lyrics maybe that are a bit too cheesy. But I do enjoy the lyrics overall. Let me see, what did I write down? Oh, I thought I don't know if this fits into this section or not, but the song structures that Miles worked with on a lot of these songs were really cool. The key changes I thought were really cool. So I don't know if that's really the lyrical section, or if that should belong in one of the other ones, but I included it in this because it's part of the songwriting, and lyrics are part of the songwriting.
Right.
But I do, like I said, I think the songs where Miles wrote 100% by himself were all the standout tracks.
Yeah, honestly.
On the album.
Yeah. Besides like Color the Trap,
which he wrote with Alex.
Which is an Alex song too.
Okay. Yeah, so that's definitely a standout. But I mean, amongst all the other songs, I'm pretty sure most of them were written by just Miles, or at least the ones that were written by just Miles, I think stood out songwriting wise as being really impressive. And then maybe even some of the ones that were with Alex, I think kind of were a bit underwhelming, especially the
second last and the third last song.
Yeah, those songs I felt were a bit underwhelming, which is kind of what pushed me to give him a 7.
Oh, a 7.
A soft 7. Not a bad score, but you know, I just didn't think there was much that kind of really stood out to me lyrically. Okay. To each their own. Yeah. I mean, Color the Trap's lyrics, I think, are beautiful. Yeah. You know, and that song itself is like an 8 or a 9. But
it's dragged by a 4 and a 3.
Right before it.
Probably give it them.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. The vocals.
So, you know, I had a bit of a preconception of Miles's vocals going into this album.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that his vocals really shined.
Okay.
They shined. They shone.
They shoned. Yes.
They shoned in a way that I wasn't really quite expecting. Mm-hmm. Because you know what I enjoyed most vocally?
What?
His lower registers.
Really?
I like his lower voice.
Nice.
Like when he goes into like the more, maybe it's the soft spoken or just the talky bits, but his lower register is really enjoyable to listen to, much more so than his higher register, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And when I thought on this album, when he does explore his higher register, it's for effect. It's not just him kind of yelling into a microphone the way I think like Bad Habits is.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, that just song was really grating on my ears. And then you got most of these songs, even Inhaler, while it is in its higher register, I thought it still really sounded great. So overall, you know, vocals, you know, really on point. Really liked the more aggressive vocals on, like I said, Inhaler and Come Closer. And I loved the lower registers that he explores, and I kind of wish he would do that more.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, especially if he's going to be releasing kind of like slower songs. You know, definitely, I think he should utilize that aspect of his vocals.
Yeah. With sort of my views, Miles is in his element on this album. Like Miles, this is
for sure.
This is what I feel Miles is meant to do. You know, sort of project. Oh my God, Alec. Oh my God.
Words.
Project this '60s vibe. This sort of this atmosphere. This quality, and his voice is super unique. You know, I feel like you listen to a song and be like, oh, it's Miles Kane. If you know who Miles Kane is, you know, you'd be like, oh my God, it's Miles. Wow. Like right off the bat. But I feel like a lot of modern day artists, it sort of feels like a dime a dozen. You know, I think we talked about this before.
Yeah.
A lot of artists sort of feel the same, but it's a lot like Liam Gallagher, a lot like Richard Ashcroft. You know, he sort of got this unique sounding voice. And like you said, his lower registers are awesome. His higher registers are awesome. You know, I don't feel like in this album he's forcing himself. You know, I feel like everything sort of comes naturally and he knows what he's doing. You know, I feel his vocals and everything is top notch. Honestly, like 99% of the, not 99, more like 90% of the time, I feel like this is perfect.
Yeah.
So I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, he does feel very in control.
Yeah, he does. Which
is, you know, something that I feel like he kind of maybe loses a bit on, specifically his newest album. From what I've heard, is that he kind of just seems like he's yelling into the microphone without really a good sense or idea of what the song is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just because I haven't really given it the time of day, so I'm not gonna throw my opinion too much out on that.
Yeah, maybe one day we can get to that album.
Yeah, but like I said, this just feels like he's really in control and very focused. Like he has a focused idea of what he wants each song to be.
Exactly.
And the overall album.
This is why I respect Miles so much. It's because he knows what he's doing. You know, he surrounds himself with the right people. You know, and he has this idea and he just does it. Right. So Instant Replay. You know, and growing up listening to this album, because I was 13 when this album came out, and like I've been following Miles and Alex for years. You know, like one of the first albums I ever bought on iTunes was Whatever People Say.
Yeah.
You know, like I was 9 when the album came out, and I've been in love with them ever since, sort of thing, right? And you know, whenever I listen to this album, it makes me feel like I'm 13 again, and I'm like, yeah, like British rock and roll. This is so cool, and I always want to hit replay.
Okay.
Even the second last, the third last songs, you get those out of the way. But this album does make me just want to keep hitting replay. I love the songs on this album. You know, I know this makes you sound biased, but you know, it's like this is definitely a passion project for Miles.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just perfect in my eyes. So I did give it an 8 out of 10. Again,
I see.
There is like I can't be super biased. I can't give it a 10 out of 10 or anything. But whenever I finish the album and I listen to Color the Trap, I feel like I just want to replay it again.
Yeah,
that song makes me feel like I'm like, oh, I just want to listen to Come Closer again. You know.
That's funny.
So where do you stand on Instant Replay?
I gave it a 6.
Okay.
I also have to say that I think I gave I don't know if I said my vocal score. But
I'm sorry.
I think because I just started talking about it and then forgot to mention it at the end.
Oh, yeah, the score. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so I gave it a 7, and 7. I think you said an 8.
Yeah, it was an 8.
Okay, so on Instant Replay, I gave it a 6.
Okay.
There's a few songs that had the Instant Replay factor for me. Rearrange. As soon as I heard Quicksand, I wanted to listen to it again. Mm-hmm. When I heard My Fantasy, I immediately wanted to hear how he worked his way through the song. Mm-hmm. Take the Night Away. Another one, or Take the Night From Me. I forget what it's called.
Take the Night From Me.
Yeah. Wrote it down here, so I'm not going to try and say that again because I'm going to mess it up.
Yep.
So there's a few songs that had like an instant replay factor for me, but overall, I think my main gripe with it was that the sound of the album didn't really immediately connect with me. Mm-hmm. You know, you've grown up with it, you've experienced it since 2011.
Yeah.
And like I'm familiar with Miles' sound, but as somebody who's coming into this as a new listener, you know, the sound is something. It's vintage. It's been done before in a way. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of Miles's really raw and authentic take on it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as like a new listener, I don't know if I'm immediately gonna pull anything new out of it right away. There's gonna be a few songs that are gonna maybe stick out to me that I'm gonna maybe want to put into a playlist. But overall, there wasn't anything that immediately made me want to instantly replay the whole album. You know, a couple songs, such as why I gave it a 6 out of 10. But the album as a whole, not so much.
Okay.
You know, still enjoy the album, but
yeah.
As a whole, you know, I'm only going to take a few songs away from this instead of the album as a entity. And maybe the more I listen to it, you know, the whole album would grow on me. But that's not really the instant part of the instant replay.
Yeah.
You know?
That falls more into longevity. You know, and my take on it is Miles Kane fans can always come back to this album, right? This is something that, you know, fans can always listen to and appreciate. You know, he still performs a lot of the songs from this album when he performs live, which is a sign that, you know, he hasn't given up on it. You know, he still thinks that this album is top notch, and I think this album is top notch. Like I said before, there's no other album really that sounded like this, you know, up until The Last Shadow Puppets first album, 2008, 2009. And, or I guess 2007 is when they formed, but there's no album like this, you know, like for 2011. Now, I can't even remember what came out in 2011. Was LMFAO one of the biggest bands in 2011?
I don't know, but I know Suck It and See came out in 2011.
It did, and I kind of wanted to touch on that. Sorry to sort of fall back, but Better Left Invisible and Telepathy, I got like a Suck It and See vibe from those songs.
Like an A side, like the first side of Suck It and See.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, the longevity, it's you know, I would honestly keep like 7 or 8 of these songs saved on my main playlist if I could, you know, if it was on Spotify.
Yeah.
And so I honestly gave it a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
And the whole 9.
That's very generous.
Because this album was something that really resonated with me when I was younger, and I was like, Miles is the coolest. He's so cool. Oh my God, look at him. You know, and I don't know. It sounds biased or whatever, but I always feel like I can come back to this album. I feel like I honestly listen to this album all the time. I
mean, if it's a 9 for you, then it's a 9.
Exactly. It's a 9 from me.
Exactly.
It's not a 10.
You don't gotta, you're not rating somebody else's opinion.
Exactly. It's just my opinion. What about you? Would you prefer longevity?
So I gave it another 6.
Oh, you son of a... Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. That's okay.
I'm just being so hard on Miles here.
I know. That's good though, because I didn't want you to be biased just for my...
Yeah, I tried not to be. I didn't want to be soft on him in any way.
Yeah.
You know, because like, and I also didn't want to just like not go into it, not care, because I've already formed my opinion of Miles, right?
Exactly.
I tried to be as neutral as I possibly could. But with that said, you know, there were songs off this album that I've known for years, so it's kind of hard to go into it completely
Unbiased. Yeah, and as an album, I should have probably picked a different album, but this being an album that like I've always come back to, I've always listened to. It's sort of hard for me to remain unbiased because I love the song so much. But I honestly did try to pick gripes. I'm glad we both agree on the second last and the third last songs.
Yeah,
as being the weakest. But sorry, you were talking about longevity.
Yeah, so there's songs of this album that I've known for years, and they do hold up really well, and I think the album itself holds up really well, but not in a sense that it is doing anything super creative or original, which I think kind of conflicts with what you said, because you said that nobody else was really doing stuff like this around 2011.
Yeah.
Which, in a sense, I do see that, but there was I think a handful of bands, like the Arctic Monkeys or, probably like the Vaccines were probably doing something that was pretty guitar heavy. I know their English Graffiti album came out in 2013, I think, so they probably had an album around this time, 2011, that was probably a similar kind of sound. So I think like he was doing something that was kind of being revised at the time, which was this kind of like nostalgic 60s rock sound. Like Suck It and See You had a very vintage, old-timey pop gum music machine record player kind of sound to it, and this kind of picks up on a lot of those same aesthetics. So with that, like, I think Miles's voice on this album sounds really fresh and original, but the album, it uses kind of like the traditional instrumentation and doesn't really push the boundaries of what he could do musically, instrumentally. They're kind of all just well-written indie pop rock songs, alt rock songs.
Yeah.
So there is the album itself, the quality of it is going to stand up over the test of time. It's going to stand up to the test of time, but I don't think that the ideas of the album are really anything that's like truly groundbreaking.
Yeah.
So for that, I gave it a 6 out of 10 just because the album sounds to me like it's kind of stuck in that mid 2000s indie rock boom.
Okay. That
was going on at the time.
Yeah.
So, a good album, just don't kill me. Don't hurt me.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you.
Okay.
So what was your final score?
My final score is the highest that we've given so far. It's a 6.8 out of 10.
6.8?
Yeah.
I gave it an 8.3. Oh, geez. Okay. No, I put.
Well, I totally respect that because, I'm aware that this is a really important album to you, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect you to just go and start shitting on your own album just for the sake of being an objective music reviewer or something like that.
Exactly. It's I gave it an 83%. I said great album. Hope Josh likes it, and I put a lot of happy faces at the end. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed this album.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. I'm so glad you just say you love it. Would you say you love this album?
I'd say that I love songs off the album.
You wouldn't say you love it though.
The album. Okay, so that would be one thing that I think took away from it was that I'm a big sucker for a good album cover.
Yeah.
And Miles gazing at me with his popped collar with the kind of retro looking font over top of it.
Yeah, let me just pull it up here so we can look at it.
So we can look at it together.
Yeah, let me just pull it up here.
To me that doesn't really, it's not an aesthetic that I can really connect with.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe at a certain point in my life I wouldn't have cared about that so much, and I probably would have thought it was cool.
Yeah, like I did when I was 13.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
see that?
His collar.
Yeah, buttoned down quite there's at least 3 buttons that are undone.
He's got rings on, necklace.
Yeah.
He's got the Beatles hair.
The Beatles hair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
look at those eyes.
They're just piercing.
He reminds me of a lot of Johnny Marr.
Yeah, oh for sure.
Yeah.
The sideburns.
But but back, when I was young, I'm 21. But I thought that was really cool. It's very. I thought it was so cool. I thought it was very rustic, a very like 60s. I was like, yeah. Like you can look at the album cover and you know exactly. I feel like you know exactly what you're gonna get with it.
Yeah, and you do get it.
Yeah, and so I think he sort of went with that vibe. You know, it'd be kind of cool if he released it with like just his name on it, and it's just like just Miles Kane, Color of the Trap or something.
Without him
on it.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be kind of cool.
I feel like that would, because it almost, there's something about putting yourself right on the front of an album cover in that kind of like, I don't know, that it gives me the impression that he's trying to be cool.
Yeah.
You know, and
you don't try to be cool. You are cool.
You are cool. Just embrace that you are cool.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like I wouldn't have even thought about him, like what he looks like or anything, because that's another thing, right? So when I'm listening to this album, the image that I have in my head is Miles looking like that, singing to me like that.
Yeah.
You know, so all of these things are affecting my experience of listening to the album.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a small thing that should be so insignificant, but, you know, it all is part of a bigger picture.
Exactly.
You know, it's all part of my 6.8.
Yep, 6.8, 8.3.
Yeah.
Yep. It's, no, this album means a lot to me, you know, and I'm glad you didn't just say a bunch of positive things to make me feel good or whatever, but I'm glad you really enjoyed this album.
Yeah, I did.
I'm glad you liked it.
I did.
Because I was scared that you were going to hate it. And I was like, oh no, what if Josh hates it and then we can't be friends anymore? Because he's like, Alec gave it a 4.2 out of 10 because this album's just garbage. And I give it like an 8.3 and I'm like, oh, well.
Well, we're not friends.
It looks like we can't be friends anymore.
Yeah, so I'm just going to post this podcast.
And then that's it.
That's it.
That's it for the indie trash.
Yeah.
It was a great run.
Yeah.
3 episodes, 5 subscribers.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad you liked it.
I did.
I'm so happy that you liked it. You have no idea. I was terrified the whole week.
I was terrified I was going to like just absolutely hate it.
Yeah, no, that's
like you
nightmare.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to fake my opinion.
Yeah, no. And honestly, this is my opinion. I love 60s rock and roll. I love Elvis Costello and Echo and the Bunnymen and all these bands that inspired Miles Kane. There's a video of Miles Kane where he goes to like a record shop and he just keeps pulling up these albums and stuff, like his first album, and like he had to pick an album from like each decade or whatever, and I knew like every single one of them.
Yeah, you're.
And I was like, I knew this album. I listened to this album. I listened and this is like albums that only I thought I knew because my parents they have weird taste in music.
Yeah.
But no, I resonate so much with what sort of Miles does and his songwriting abilities. Like I love who he is.
Yeah, it's cool that you guys can have that kind of like connection, that bond over, even if you've never met him, you never talked to him.
Yeah, you're right. We'll probably never ever get to meet each other.
But you have that similar bond over the fact that you guys just listen to the same music.
Yeah, we're best friends. He doesn't even know it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it works out.
Miles, if you're looking for a best friend,
I'm right here. I'm available.
Yeah.
I do have a couple best friends. I mean, I have one best friend.
But
no. If you're looking for a best friend, I can be there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'll sacrifice some of my time. It's fine.
Yeah, Josh is available too.
Yeah.
And Alex Turner, if you're listening to.
Yeah, there's plenty of the Indie Trash podcast hosts to go around. Exactly. So no need to start fighting over anything.
Exactly. Do we have our next review?
So I have 2 ideas, and let me see if me just looking at them right now inspires me to...
You want to flip a coin?
Ooh, I could flip a coin.
Okay.
Yeah, let's reach into the coin jar and avoid the bill.
Avoid the $5 in your coin jar. Yeah, what do you want? Which coin do you want?
Something that's big enough to flip. So a quarter, minimum of a quarter.
Let's see what year it is.
All right.
2006.
That's a good year.
That is a good year. It'd be funny if it was 2011.
So we got 2 albums. I'm not even going to say what they are.
Okay.
I'm just going to flip them.
Okay. Just flip away.
All right.
Oh,
so... Okay, so we are doing, I believe it's called something Strike Gently. Let me see. Strike Gently by the Virgins.
Okay, Strike Gently by the Virgins.
Let me just make sure that's the name of the album cover. Yep, it is Strike Gently by the Virgins.
Okay, 2013.
Yep, indie rock, 10 songs, 44 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've never listened. I know a couple songs off the album, but...
You never listened to it all the way through?
No.
Okay.
Been meaning to, and I've been saving it for this exact moment.
There we go. Perfect.
So let's get it. Okay, so that was this review.
Yep, that's it.
That was it. are you happy that we reviewed it?
I'm very happy. I'm very happy you liked it.
Yep.
Yep.
We can finally say that I have listened to a Miles Kane project. I have an opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not just my opinion on his vocals based off of snippets that I've heard.
Yep.
I have an informed opinion.
Yep.
Good.
Awesome.
Okay, so until next week.
Yep.
This was fun.
This was fun.
I am Josh.
I'm Alec.
And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.